Chairman Grothman, Ranking Member Garcia, thank you for inviting me to speak with you today. I last testified in the House 10 months ago. Since then, the number of migrants entering Border Patrol custody has dropped by more than 3/4. Fewer people came to the border in July and August than in 9 different months of the Trump administration. As my written testimony explains, that's because 2 crackdowns have brought the numbers down for now, one in Mexico and one in the U.S. asylum system. Their effect won't be permanent, but they do give us all a moment of calm. Our hair is not on fire right now. We can have a chance to discuss better solutions. And I'm going to advise against even more crackdowns. Over and over again, regardless of who's president, when there's a crackdown on migrants, the curve always shows a dive, a bottoming out, and then a recovery. You can see a chart in my written testimony of the past 10 years, crackdown, recovery, crackdown, recovery. Even during the Trump presidency, migration rose twice. You had sort of the caravan and family asylum seeker period in 2018 and 2019, punctuated by family separations in 2018, but that didn't make that much of a difference. In mid-2019, Remain in Mexico did bring the numbers down, but then that had leveled off by the fall. And into spring 2020, it was leveled off, and then COVID came and closed the world's borders. The second increase was the last 8 or 9 months of the Trump administration. Title 42 was in effect, but from April 2020 onward, every month was greater than the last. Border Patrol apprehensions tripled from May to October, an absolute hockey stick change. Joe Biden inherited more than 70,000 encounters per month, nearly a quarter more than there are right now. President Biden kept Title 42 in place. His administration expelled 2.5 million people. By the way, Remain in Mexico under Trump, 71,000 people. But people kept coming. One of the toughest crackdowns ever didn't stop them. Why? The answer has to do with the futility of fighting against geography and fighting against the law of supply and demand. My written testimony discusses that more. So now, while crackdowns don't work, I'll be clear, I also don't want to see huge numbers of people coming to the U.S.-Mexico border. Those people you see coming in to turn themselves into Border Patrol, they're doing that because applying for asylum requires you to be physically on U.S. soil. In order to get to U.S. soil, most of these people, they go through absolute hell. I'm amazed by the desperation of moms I've seen pushing strollers at the entrance to the Darien Gap, the determination of people who just keep going, even after being kidnapped and tortured by Mexican gangs and corrupt police. But it's heartbreaking. This route encourages and enriches bloodthirsty organized crime groups. So how do we break out of feudal crackdowns and also, at the same time, break out of forcing people to come to the border? First, with reforms to how people can come here. We need to be able to make clear that a process exists, that there's a line that people can get into, even though it may take a while. Right now, there's virtually no process, no line. Just because someone might not qualify for asylum doesn't mean that they and their family don't have a lot to offer for our communities and our economy. Our immigration laws, though, haven't fundamentally changed in 34 years. I'm talking 1990. I was 20 that year. I'm kind of a techie kind of guy. I didn't even have an email address in 1990. This is a very long time ago. Residency, work permits, refugee admissions have changed very little since the first Bush administration. We need to modernize, and if we did, we'd have a lot less people making this dangerous journey to access our asylum system at the border. Second, though, as troubled as it is, we still have to defend that asylum system. We shouldn't put asylum out of reach like H.R. 2 would do. That's for 4 good reasons. First, asylum exists for an important historical reason. It's a legacy of World War II, when countries turned away many people fleeing the Nazis and Stalin, and those people died. Much of the world said never again, including the United States. Reason 2, a lot of people really do qualify for asylum. In our immigration courts this year, 48% of asylum cases ended with grants of asylum or other protection. That's hundreds of thousands of lives saved over the years. Reason 3, we've kept our asylum system so anemically underfunded that it's overwhelmed. Wait times for a decision are routinely several years. And then that overwhelm, that wait time, it becomes its own draw. But this is fixable. It's an administrative problem. How? Get processing off of Border Patrol agents' to-do lists so that they can get back on the line. About 1,000 processing coordinators have been hired, people who don't need a full course of academy training to do paperwork. That's a start. Get case management in place so that you can keep people in the system. And most of all, hire judges and asylum officers so that caseloads go down, backlogs go down, people get fair decisions in their cases, but the cases happen so quickly, even with fairness, that people with weaker cases don't try. Reason 4, as I said, our immigration laws are so outdated that asylum is the only door open for many people. We have to fix that. That's the reality. So now while we've got this lull in migration at the border, let's talk about new ways forward. I think that we can do that perhaps once the election cycle ends. Thank you, and I look forward to discussing this further.